Cool. No, Neil, I'm glad we're catching up. You didn't disappoint me. You got the T-shirt going today.
I like to talk about real estate. There we go. Okay, great.
Awesome. Yeah.
All for you. I wore the T-shirt for you and I shaved for you. So two things.
Same. So I even got a Wawa T-shirt going. I got a Wawa. I'm trying to get under contract today. So for good luck, I got the Wawa shirt going.
All right. It's like a rally shirt.
Yeah. So where are you? Are you in New York, Florida? Where are you at?
New York. I've been here for last 8 weeks. I'd like to get down to Florida, but I don't want to quarantine for 2 weeks by myself, which I think is still the rule. I'm trying to find out if they change that. So I know that if you're coming from New York, New Jersey, or some other places, Florida doesn't like you going about. So I'm waiting.
Out of curiosity, how's this? It's a stupid question saying how's this impacting you, but I mean, family, everybody holding up? How are things in New York?
So from a familial standpoint, I have two interesting things happening. First of all, I have 2 teenagers who are in Florida I haven't seen since March 3rd. So that
FaceTime or Zoom or
of course. As teenagers go, like, yeah, okay, Dad, okay, whatever. It's fine. As a parent, I miss them more than they miss me, obviously. Okay.
Yeah.
My wife, actually, I commute between New York and Florida. My wife is really based in New York, and she is a nurse practitioner who nowadays, she usually does something called pediatric neurointerventional radiology, but nowadays, because there's no surgeries for that, she's in the ICU in Mount Sinai in the city 2 days a week.
Oh, wow.
So
she does everybody safe and...
Yeah, I mean, she does 12-hour shifts. She look, the silver lining is there's no traffic in New York. But other than that, she goes in, and when she goes in, she changes in her office to scrubs. She puts on booties. She puts on all the PPE stuff. And then she goes to her office, and after the shift, changes back, comes home. I have the shower running, the washing machine open, and she just, listen, I mean, the way that she's dressed, I don't think there's going to be any issues. And also, the way they have it now, because she's technically a pediatric NP, she can't really be one-on-one with patients who have COVID because they're not, they're adults. So she's more of a runner, and she's not really, all the machinery for the COVID patients is not in the room with the patient. It's outside of the room, so they can monitor things from outside the room. So,
okay, well, thank her for
She says things are getting better. I mean, the ICU is still full.
Okay.
But the survival rate is better, and people leave and whatever. And listen, it's tough. It's a tough time. It's crazy. So
no doubt. We'll thank her for all of us. So no, obviously you're an attorney. What's kind of keeping you? I know we've met before. I know you do a lot of transactional work, leasing. What are you kind of working on right now?
So it's funny. I mean, like in the real estate, I do 3 main things. I do contracts of all types. I do commercial corporate transactions, and I do real estate transactions. So from a real estate standpoint, unless something was actually in production in the hopper, things aren't really happening from scratch. I'm not getting a call now, I'm buying a building. I know it's happening. I read things, but it's not happening for me.
I think you're going to see a lot of that in the near future, like in the next few months, though.
Well, I hope as things lessen up and people have more certainty. I mean, uncertainty breeds fear, and that's what happens. So people are scared about lending and about this and about, let's say they're in retail, they're scared about people coming, tenants coming in, or, the public, going to these tenants, stores and stuff. So, but I did get a retail lease yesterday for a car wash. It's a 20-year lease.
Hey, that's awesome.
Great.
That's great. Yeah.
So that was the first time in a while something on the real estate.
Victories.
Yeah. So most of my stuff lately has been, March was fine. April, I had a little less work to do, but it was mostly contracts, distribution, stuff like that. But hopefully real estate will pick up. Oh, there you go. Look at that.
I had to jump in my lap.
What city is that behind you?
That's actually like a conglomerate.
It's a conglomerate, right? Because I know the Golden Gate Bridge and the Arch in St. Louis aren't that close. But anyway.
No.
But yeah, I think things hopefully will start picking up. I mean, even like this first week of May, the phone's ringing more about people moving ahead with things. So maybe people are ready to move forward. I know people are ready to move forward. My fear is that like let's not push it. You know what I'm saying? Like when I see people on the beach in Florida, I see pictures, I'm like, okay, don't push it. But we'll see.
What about closings? You had a few of those?
I had a few, but they were all things that were on the tail end. Nothing. I had one or two things in production, but we'll see what happens. happens. Most of the stuff that's closing is stuff that existed beforehand. The financing was basically set up, et cetera. So,
are you doing any lease renegotiations, concessions, restructure?
I haven't personally had that. I tend to represent just the way things are. Not that I want to, tenants more than landlords.
Yeah.
But my tenants, for the most part, are okay. I mean, look,
That's
you walk around New York, 4 out of 5 stores are closed. I mean, it's,
right.
you know, but then again, certain parts of New York, you know, there were plenty of stores closed before this happened. So
I mean, I had been hearing that for a while, that there's a lot of stuff.
When I'm in Long Island now, but when I'm in the city, most of the time I was on the Upper West Side, and like say Broadway in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. I mean, which is prime location, you know, affluent people, great retail. There are certain swaths of blocks where 4 to 5 stores had been closed before. So I think a lot of it is that, you know, landlords are sitting on properties. They want X amount of rent. They're going to get into a long-term lease. They don't want to give, you know, too many concessions or go below market. So they're keeping things dark. And I know that the mayor in New York, de Blasio, he wanted to tax stores that were empty because it's a blight. It is a blight. I mean, you're walking on a block where the average 1-bedroom apartment is like $1 million and 4 out of 5 stores say for rent. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous.
It's not good. Well, out of curiosity, I mean, you talking with any, I mean, you said you're in Long Island, but are you hearing many people in the city that are ready to kind of just either move out to Long Island, more into the burbs, or to Florida?
You know, you hear that, but honestly, I mean, if your life and your career is in New York, I mean, look, you can make, when it comes to making money, New York is the place to make money. I mean, you make more, it costs more, but you make more there. It's probably easier to get a job there. So I think people like leaving because of COVID. It depends on how, look, if COVID's been here, let's say 2 months, and in another month, everything's sort of back to normal, whatever that means. I'm not saying you're not going to be wearing masks and gloves in public. You probably will. But like to leave where you live and have a career or have a job, I don't see it happening.
Particularly over a couple of months. I mean, so far, this is not, none of us think this is a 5-year thing, a 10-year thing. We sure as hell hope not. And nothing tells us it is.
Yeah, but look, we have so much to look forward to. I mean, we have murder hornets coming. So, you know.
I don't even know what that is.
Oh my gosh. Go look up CNN or New York Times. These hornets are coming.
Oh yeah, I know you're. Okay, yeah.
Right.
So we got that to look forward to.
We have that to look forward to. I mean, they can kill people.
I remember the thing, the killer. But when we were kids, I remember we're similar age. I remember it was the killer bees that were coming from Mexico or Spain. Where the hell they were coming from.
Bees, right. I mean, listen, whatever. I mean, nowadays, you know, what frightens people sells. So that's what they're pushing.
Sounds like an SNL. There's an SNL skit somewhere in there. What's, out of curiosity, anything? I mean, I see you all over the place on LinkedIn. You're doing a ton of videos.
Right.
I know you're a very upbeat, positive guy. Anything you're taking from this positively? Anything you've learned? Anything that's really working for you now?
That could be my on-camera persona. I might start crying when we get off. I'm joking.
We all have that.
Listen. So there's this video going around. I don't remember what it's called. It's a British guy giving a nighttime.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I saw that post yesterday.
So one of our mutual connections posted about it, and I took the counterpoint. I'm like, listen. It's not like the world was so bad before COVID that we're all going to be like, oh, we love our families now. No, I love my family beforehand. Or, you know, I was watching too much TV before COVID, and I finally realized. Now, I knew I was watching too much TV before COVID, and I think I'm watching more TV with COVID. But listen, I think it's a time to assess, you know, like, hey, you know, we had it pretty good before. Look, life is tough. We understand that. We had it pretty good before, and then when you're locked in your house for 8 weeks and you get to see people, I mean, yeah, it probably gives you some perspective on things, but I don't think it's like a kumbaya, a kumbaya, like, you know, let's get together. I think there was more unity in something like 9/11 than there is in this. This is not a unifying thing.
Particularly in New York.
Right. Well, I happen to be at the towers on 9/11, but the thing is, like, this is not a unifying pandemic for us. Turn on the TV. We're not unified. This is not bringing everybody together.
You were actually in the towers on 9/11, or?
Yeah, that morning. I got out before the first plane hit, thankfully. But yeah, whatever. We'll do another story on that some other time.
That's a whole nother video. Yeah.
But the thing is that, like I find like that was a unifying event, especially in New York. I mean, unifying, you know?
It was all us against them. This is a virus.
I don't feel that. The funny thing is, like, that video, I forgot what it's called, but that video.
Resilience or something.
Right.
Yeah.
What is not happening here is there's no unification. Like, we're not unifying as a people. Like, oh, you know what?
Yeah.
If you put on TV, we're so divided. It hasn't improved. So I don't think it really, you know, the self-realization. I don't know if that happened. And I think that people have a tendency to forget things.
what sort of things are you working on right now? What's kind of keeping you from a business standpoint?
So mostly contractual stuff. I've a couple of my big clients are actually online sellers, and their business is doing great. So they need like distribution agreements and stuff like that. I mean, but that's few and far between. Most people are, slowing down or standing still or more cautious about things.
What do you think, looking out 3 to 6 months? Where do you see your business? Or
I hope it's better. I'll tell you that much. Like my March was good, and my April was like half my March. But that's also because certain things will be booked in May that I wanted to be booked in April. It didn't happen.
Gotcha.
It got pushed. But I think May starting out okay. I think if people are starting to feel more comfortable, like it's getting back to normal or whatever normal might be. Yeah. And then there's some normalcy inserted into their business. They'll take more chances. They'll enter into more contracts. They'll do more transactions, etc. So hopefully the pickup will come.
And I think you're going to see more transactions. It may be some distress sales here, but I think that's still several months down the road. But I do think you're going to see more velocity coming. Hopefully.
I do see a slowdown. It's funny, and as a professional, listen, it happens. And I spoke to a doctor this past weekend, and he said he is like a system that tells him how he's doing financially in the office, and it said it was down like 70% in April. And he's a doctor. I mean, I think he's a dermatologist, whatever. So it's not necessary, and people don't have to go. They're not going. Like I know a lot of dentists who aren't doing anything. It's just emergency.
It's interesting. All this, this was all done to avoid the funnel, just killing the hospital system as far as just being overwhelming the hospital system and the medical system. And ironically, the next bailout's probably the medical system in reality.
Right. So what I find like astounding at this point, I mean, the stock market got rocked, and and it came back. And last week, I dumped all of my non-NASDAQ stuff, and I was heavily NASDAQ anyway. But like, Apple was over 300 yesterday. I mean, it's back. It's almost. I mean, I think it's high was like 320 or so on the year or whatever it was. But like, it was down to like 230, 220 like 3-4 weeks ago.
The stock market, I can't figure it out. I'm not smart enough to figure out what's going on with the stock market.
I don't know who is, but okay, right, exactly. Yeah. But like, it's amazing to me, like, because the stock market's supposed to be like a barometer of sentiment of where we're going, obviously, So, but I understand. Listen, Apple, Microsoft, Netflix, like these stocks are going to be fine because we're using those products every day, even if we're sitting at home, right?
Yeah.
But like the retailers, I mean, the restaurants, the gyms, the movie theaters. Listen, I canceled my gym membership. I did it the other day. I'm like, you know what? I don't have to go back. I went 2 months without it. I am an exercise kind of guy. I hate doing it, but I do it. I'm like, I'm just not paying for it anymore. If I've gone 2 months without it and I haven't ballooned 30 pounds, I don't need it anymore. I'll do something else. And also, if there is a recurrence of this, that's like the first place it's going to be again when you go to the gym, So I think gyms are not going to come back the way they were. Did you have the post about the Peloton? I think you might have.
Yeah, I did a post on Peloton, and Peloton's crushing it. And I think.
And you're right. If I'm spending $2,000 to $4,000 on a Peloton plus a monthly fee, I am not going back to LA Fitness. It's never going to happen.
Particularly if you just did it now. If you've always had one, that's a different story. If you're able to afford a couple $100 a month for fitness, which is probably well worth it in reality. Right. But if you just got it in the last 2 weeks, you're not going back to the gym probably right away.
And also, I think something else that's going to change, it's one of my fearless COVID predictions, is the movie theaters are done. Because first of all, they were doing poorly anyway, and now like we realize we don't need them. And even like the Academy Awards is changing the rules. You usually have to be in a theater to be nominated. They don't have to be in a theater anymore. So like I realize like I don't have to spend like $8 on a Kit Kat anymore. Like I'll just stay home and be entertained just as much. I think the movie theaters aren't going to come out of it. I think it's going to be tough. Yeah,
it's a tough road. It's going to be challenging. I know you did a post. I think it was yours yesterday. To the pictures of the sports from the back in the 1920s, and I would have thought that was photoshopped, wearing the mask. And what do you think? I mean, part of me was thinking some of these sports come back, and I'm kind of starting to think without fans if they do. I just don't know.
Those pictures were from 1918, the Spanish influenza.
Spanish flu, right?
So my point was, listen, look, if it means life or death to stay home, I'm staying home. I'm not an idiot. But like my point was, in 1918, they still had football, they still had baseball. People still they wore masks. Then again, they had no penicillin antibiotics and they didn't have Netflix and internet to stay home to. But the point is that I think sports, they're going to lose billions and billions of dollars. I think it'd be good for morale to bring sports back. Obviously, if there are no fans, there are no fans. Look, I'm partial to football. The other stuff can wait as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But like my son says, as long as by NFL season we're back, I don't care about anything, you know. But listen, we've gone too much of that sports.
Yeah,
we're able to do it. I mean, I think people are going to want it. And I think somebody posted recently or answered your post maybe, my post about the UFC is doing some event.
Right.
You know, no fans and the actual people in the fight have been tested. But listen, you have to test everybody in, let's say, NBA basketball, because there's only 5 guys on the court from each side at one time. So you got 10 guys on the court plus 2 refs. As long as they're all tested and there's nobody in the stands and everybody's been tested, it should be okay. I mean, are people going to want to watch it? Maybe. We'll see. You know, they have to pick up the season. It's already May. We'll probably have a shortened season for a bunch of sports, obviously.
Yeah, I think NFL,
something and nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I could see NFL coming back. And I think it's probably without fans for right now. And maybe it's a shortened season, and maybe it's just all – I think if you went to these NFL players, frankly, any of the athletes, you said, look, we're going to shorten the season, we're going to play, you're going to have to quarantine, you're not going to be with your family for 4 months, but you're still going to make your $10 million this year. I think most of them will do that. College, I don't know that college can do it. I'm a huge college
also,
fan.
I don't know. I don't have any clients who are professional athletes. But I'm kind of curious. Those contracts, I'm pretty sure they're guaranteed. Like, I don't think there's a force majeure that's going to stop. I think these guys are getting paid. They're getting paid. So, like, they can sit home, you know. So from an income standpoint, it's not affecting them at all. But I think that they probably want to play. I mean, a lot of these guys are in their prime. Like, this is it. You know, you have like a prime career time, and then it's over. And the average NFL player plays like 2.5 seasons. Like, what if this is one of those seasons for some of these guys?
Correct. You know? So. No, great chatting with you. I don't want to keep you all day. We could sit here and talk. I mean, we've had breakfast together. We got to do that again sometime soon, I hope.
Sure.
So how can I mean, you're all over LinkedIn. You got fantastic content, and we could just talk about that too. What's the best way for folks to reach you if they need legal help, if they're looking for transactional help? You know, not even just in Florida or New York, but
find me on LinkedIn. You can DM me, or if you want to set up, I do free consultations nowadays to help people out. Talktoneil.com.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic. No, thanks for your time, Neil.
My pleasure. Take care, bro. Appreciate it. Take care.
Soon. Bye.
All right. Hopefully. Take care.